High on Life 2 is what happens when a sequel looks at the first game and says, okay, what if we kept all the good stuff, trimmed the chaos just a little, and then somehow made it even weirder? It's sleeker, it's tighter, it's more focused, and somehow it's way funnier. After the original High on Life blew up with its chaotic humor and talking guns, there was a big question hanging over the sequel. Could it still work without Justin Roiland? Could it still feel like High on Life without that specific brand of rambling, improv heavy energy? Short answer, yes. Long answer, not only does it work, it might actually be better because of it. This is a 10 to 15 hour sci-fi comedy shooter that trims the excess, sharpens the writing, adds one of the best traversal mechanics I've played with in years, and delivers consistently strong gameplay from start to finish. It's not perfect, but it's confident, and that confidence carries it. Let's get into it. The setup is simple and very funny. Your bounty hunter isn't some random nobody anymore. You're famous, you've got fans, you've got money, you've got a super suit, you've got merch, probably. You're living that intergalactic influencer lifestyle, which is exactly why the game rips it away from you almost immediately. After a genuinely hilarious opening sequence, which I won't spoil because you should absolutely experience it fresh, you end up on the wrong side of the law. Big Pharma is literally grinding humans into pill form. Your sister Lizzie is leading a human rights terrorist group, and you? Congratulations, you're in. You go from celebrity to most wanted outlaw in about 5 minutes. It's ridiculous, it's absurd, and it works. The premise isn't trying to be deep sci-fi political commentary, it's an excuse to launch you into chaos, and chaos is where this series thrives. Now let's talk about the biggest improvement, the humor. The first game was funny, but it leaned heavily on bits that went on and on and on, sometimes intentionally too long. High on Life 2 feels sharper. The jokes are tighter, the timing is better, the absurdity is still there. Don't worry, it's still completely unhinged, but now it feels deliberate, instead of indulgent. There are hundreds of jokes layered into the world, NPCs arguing in the background, side conversations triggered by which gun you're holding, environmental gags that you'll completely miss if you're sprinting past everything. I genuinely laughed out loud multiple times. Not polite nose exhale laughs, not that's amusing, full on audible laughing. At one point, I realized I'd been laughing so much that if someone walked in the room, they'd assume I was watching stand-up. It honestly feels like the team at Squanch Games wanted to prove something. Like they wanted to show that the success of the franchise wasn't tied to one voice, but to the entire creative team, and they absolutely pull it off. The comedy here feels like it's written by people who genuinely love video games. There are tropes being roasted, mechanics being mocked, fourth walls being obliterated, but it's balanced now. The mix between quick hit jokes and longer absurdist bits is far better paced. Most of the game takes place in Circuit Arcadia, a massive city built on a Halo-style ring world. And yes, they literally call it that. It's a bold choice to focus so heavily on one main location, instead of bouncing between wildly different planets like the first game. At first, I was worried it would feel smaller, but here's the thing, it's dense. Circuit Arcadia is layered. There are hidden areas, side activities, puzzles, optional objectives, shops, weird characters, and little comedic set pieces tucked everywhere. There's less emphasis on heavy Metroidvania-style gating this time. You'll still need certain upgrades to access specific areas, but it's not constantly throwing barriers in your face. Instead, the optional content is more organic. You explore between main missions, you stumble into side activities, you find puzzles that reward you with pesos or upgrades. It feels less like checking boxes, and more like poking around in a chaotic alien city. If you want to laser focus on the main story, you absolutely can. The game won't punish you. You'll naturally become strong enough through the main missions that combat rarely feels punishing. But if you want to explore, there's plenty waiting for you, and most of that optional content revolves around customization. You can tweak your outfit, customize your skateboard, change deck colors, buy ridiculous cosmetic options. Early on, you steal a boss's skateboard in one of the funniest encounters in the entire game, and from that moment on, it becomes part of your identity. There's even a Spirit Halloween-style alien shop selling costumes. I went with a flowing red Dracula cape, because if I'm overthrowing pharmaceutical space villains, I'm doing it dramatically. The side content isn't about grinding power, it's about style, which fits this game perfectly. Now we need to talk about the best addition in High on Life 2, the skateboard. This thing is basically the coolest sprint button I've ever used. At any time, you can hop onto your deck and carve through the environment. It keeps traversal fast, fluid, and stylish. But it's not just movement, you can weaponize it. You can slam into enemies, jump off their heads, launch the board like a projectile. chain movement into combat seamlessly. It feels incredible. There's also a wall ride mechanic tied to a grip meter, and as the game progresses, the platforming ramps up. Some of the tougher traversal challenges are tied to optional content, which is smart design. The main path stays accessible, while completionists get something meatier to chew on. Once you get used to the skateboard, going back to running feels like walking through syrup. It completely changes the pacing of exploration and combat. Combat itself feels tight, especially on PC. On controller, there is a noticeable dead zone that you can't currently adjust. It's not game breaking, but you do feel that slight push before your reticle starts moving. I'd love to see an adjustable dead zone option added in the future. Weapon wise, you'll end up with 6 total guns. Returning favourites like Knifey, Wheezy, and Gus are back, and there are new additions, including Ralph Ineson's Sheath. 6 weapons might not sound like a lot, but every single one feels distinct, mechanically and comedically. Depending on which gun you're holding, they'll comment differently on dialogue, combat situations, and story moments. It's kind of insane how reactive they are. It's not just guns that talk, it's guns that pay attention. Occasionally, you'll even have decisions tied to specific weapons, giving them more narrative presence. The dedication to dialogue here is wild. It must have taken an absurd amount of recording sessions to make this feel so dynamic, and it pays off. Visually, the game looks fantastic. Built-in Unreal Engine Circuit Arcadia is colourful, busy, and full of personality. Alien designs are detailed and expressive. The guns look phenomenal, animations, textures, everything. The only weak point visually is the human character models. They look slightly clay-like compared to the aliens. It feels intentional stylistically, but they're noticeably less impressive. Performance-wise, it's solid. On Xbox Series X, it runs smoothly, though the image is a bit softer compared to a powerful PC. On PC, it shines. I ran into 2 minor quest hiccups, one fixed with a checkpoint reload, the other entirely my fault for not realizing what I was supposed to do. Overall, optimization is strong, and then there are the distractions. Like the first game, High on Life 2 lets you waste time in the best ways possible. You can watch movies, browse fake retro commercials, play mini games, mess around with arcade-style activities. You can burn hours doing absolutely nothing productive, and honestly, that's part of the charm. The game flirts with more serious moments occasionally. There's more familial tension this time around. Lizzie plays a bigger role. The writing dips into adult territory before swerving back into absurdity. It never becomes emotionally devastating. This isn't that kind of game, but there's enough grounding to make the chaos feel meaningful. High on Life 2 feels like a studio making a statement. It's more focused than the first game, less bloated, more deliberate in its pacing. It keeps what worked, cuts what didn't, and adds meaningful improvements. Is it perfect? No. The controller, Dead Zone, needs options. Human models could look better. A few minor bugs pop up, but overall, it's a stronger sequel, a sharper sequel, and in my opinion, a funnier sequel. High on Life 2 earns an 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed the first game, you'll probably love this. If you bounced off the first game because the humour felt like it dragged, this might surprise you. And if you have Game Pass, there's really no reason not to try it. Go in blind, avoid spoilers, let the jokes hit fresh, and then come back and tell me which gun made you laugh the hardest. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to like the video. It genuinely helps more than you think. Subscribe for more reviews like this, and drop a comment letting me know, did High on Life 2 win you over, or were you skeptical going in? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.